Now at 5, we'll hear from a local business owner about the rapidly rising cost of eggs. Plus, a look at the next phase of renovations for Pittsburgh's historic Fox Colonial Theater. And
CBS News has learned that classified documents were found late last year in an office that President Biden used after he served as vice president. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the U.S. Capitol, where Republican lawmakers are asking, why are we just learning about this?
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
the price of eggs has been especially high in the new year, and it's impacting local businesses. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. According to the USDA, the wholesale price for a dozen eggs rose up to 60 cents, and that's before any markup at the grocery store. Experts say the price increase stems from the avian flu cases in the U.S. While no cases are reported in this area, people are still feeling the effects of the price hike.
And the eggs has gone about 3 to 4 times more than they was a year ago. They have affected us some, and we have raised our prices, and that has taken care of most of it.
USDA officials also say recent record high egg prices have started to drop, but it's going to take some time before this is reflected at your local stores. Conservative Kansas legislators are pushing back harder on LGBTQ rights issues with a bill to ban gender-affirming care for transgender youth and plans to pursue limits on what's taught about gender and sexuality in public schools. The moves in the Republican-controlled legislature come after Democratic Governor Laura Kelly narrowly won re-election despite repeated GOP attacks on her for vetoing measures restricting transgender athletes. The years-long renovation of Pittsburgh's Colonial Fox Theater is moving to its next stage. The next step is going to be to make use of the empty lot north of the theater to bring the theater up to ADA standards. Established in 1920, the Colonial Fox Theater was the heart of downtown Pittsburgh. In 1987, the Fox Theater closed its doors. However, by 2006, locals created a foundation to not only save it, but to try to spark life back into downtown Pittsburgh. Now, trustees say renovations are progressing and the future is bright.
The projections that we have say that we'll bring approximately 80,000 visitors to downtown a year once we're up and running. And so the restoration of this theater is super important for continued growth in downtown Pittsburgh.
Once the theater is up to ADA standards, the Board of Trustees believe they are a step closer to a fully renovated theater. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, it's turned out to be a pretty good Tuesday for us today. A lot of clouds streaming through the region, but temperatures great for the second week of January. Look at this, 66 Anderson, Grand Lake at 67. We have 59 in Pittsburgh, a little bit cooler in our northern counties, but everybody upper 50s to lower 60s. We have southerly winds, which are slowly increasing. So a little bit on the breezy side, but that helps our temperatures warm up just a bit. A lot of clouds streaming through the region. Nothing underneath them. We're going to stay dry as we go through the evening hours, but we do have our developing storm system next one, which is building out toward the west. So that will change our weather up just a bit over the next few days. But look at this. We hold through the 50s during the evening hours. We do have rain chances in the forecast. The winds are really going to pick up. It turns colder later on this week. Of course, we're going to break this all down for you here in just a bit.
And we'll see you then. President Biden wraps up his last day in Mexico, meeting with his Mexican and Canadian counterparts. The three leaders have been engaged in a series of talks on migration, trade, and climate change, and may find themselves at odds over certain issues, particularly the influx of migrants and the smugglers who profit from their misfortune. Canada and the U.S. have also accused Mexico of violating a free trade pact. The Justice Department is overseeing a review of a batch of documents marked classified that were found in an office space that President Biden used before he was elected president. The story was first reported by CBS News. A source tells CBS News the documents did not contain nuclear secrets, but their exact nature and classification level are unclear. Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill, where Republican lawmakers are demanding answers.
During the North American Leaders Summit Tuesday, President Biden did not respond to questions about documents marked classified that were found in an office he used before he was president. The roughly 10 documents were discovered early November while the president's personal lawyers were packing up the office. The White House counsel's office says it immediately reported the documents to the National Archives, which took possession of them the following day. It happened about 3 months after the FBI executed a search warrant at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home for classified documents. He had refused to comply with repeated requests to return the material.
I wonder why the press isn't asking the same questions of him as vice president taking classified documents that they were asking President Trump.
Republicans are questioning why the discovery of the Biden documents wasn't made public before the midterms. And now that they control the House of Representatives, they are vowing to investigate.
We have a lot of questions for National Archives. They fall under the jurisdiction of the Oversight Committee.
Attorney General Merrick Garland has assigned a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in Chicago, John Lausch, to review the Biden documents. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A source familiar with the review tells CBS News the documents are currently in a secured government facility. Once the Attorney General reviews the inquiry, he'll decide whether there should be a criminal investigation by the FBI or even a special counsel. Special counsel Jack Smith's team has subpoenaed Donald Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani. It's according to a person familiar with the subpoena. The source says they asked Giuliani to turn over records to a federal grand jury as part of an investigation into the former president's fundraising after the 2020 election. The person says it requests documents from Giuliani about travel expense payments he received around the 2020 election, when Giuliani filed numerous lawsuits on Trump's behalf contesting the election results. Still ahead, making sure holiday debt doesn't overwhelm you.
A new report says credit card debt is on the rise. I'm Jared Hill with some key tips from financial experts on how to tackle it.
And next in Health Watch, what a new study shows about the importance of keeping cannabis edibles away from kids. Topping today's Health Watch, a new study says artificial intelligence can determine how fast the brain ages. Researchers from the University of Southern California used the program to detect if the brain seems older than the body, which is a sign for a risk of neurological diseases. The AI could indicate early on signs for Alzheimer's and other diseases more accurately than current medical tests. A new paper published in the Oxford University Press finds children living near one California airport had higher lead levels in their blood. Leaded gasoline is still used for aviation, and experts say that fuel accounts for about 2/3 of lead emissions in the U.S. The new study highlights how important it is to keep cannabis edibles out of the hands of children. Reporter Dan Lieberman has more.
Accidental ingestions of cannabis edibles are skyrocketing among children. That's according to a new study in the journal Pediatrics. Researchers at Southern Illinois University School of Medicine analyzed edible cannabis exposures in children under 6 from the National Poison Data System during 2017 to 2021. About 200 cases were reported in 2017. Cases jumped to more than 3,000. In 2021, an increase of almost 1,400%. During this time, the number of states that legalized recreational marijuana more than doubled. Currently, 21 states, including Washington, D.C., allow recreational use. In the study, nearly 23% of pediatric patients were admitted to the hospital. Children can suffer breathing difficulties, a rapid heart rate, dizziness, and confusion after eating an edible. Researchers say prevention strategies are critical in order to reduce exposures in children. They stress labeling edibles, keeping them out of reach of children, and changing packaging. Currently, many edibles are often packaged to look like common candy or treats, which can be attractive to children. Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
More than 90% of accidental cannabis exposures were in a child's own home. For people over 40, frequent antibiotic use can increase the risk of inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and colitis. Online research published in the journal Gut finds the risk is greatest 1 to 2 years after using antibiotics to treat gut infections. Globally, close to 7 million people suffer from IBD, and researchers expect cases to rise over the next decade. New research at Harvard University has identified various healthy diets that can help you live longer. Study participants who followed one of 4 healthy eating patterns were less likely to die from cardiovascular disease, cancer, or respiratory disease. All the diets share key components, including whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, how federal officials are cracking down on Southwest Airlines after its Christmas meltdown.
Plus, we have some rain chances in the forecast. We're going to look at that coming up next. Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Temperatures, most of us into the 60s, even though we've had a lot of clouds, which you can see outside right now on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Beautiful day, especially for the 10th of January when we are typically seeing high temperatures mainly into the 40s. But it looks pretty good. A lot of clouds across the region. Temperatures great. Check this out. Anywhere from 57 Nevada, Monette, 66 in Anderson. Miami's at 64. Chautauqua's at 61. Fort Scott is sitting at about 58 degrees. We have these southerly winds kind of helping our temperatures warm up just a little bit. Now our winds are really going to increase behind our cold front that rolls in as we head into Thursday morning. Tower cam, I got to fix that. But for the evening hours, we're going to slide back through the 50s, eventually down to 44. We're going to have mostly cloudy skies. It does look like we'll stay on the dry side, but just a lot of clouds, kind of like what we're seeing right now. You can see them pushing through the region. Again, there's nothing underneath the clouds, so we are staying dry. But this is in advance of our next storm system, which is out to the west. But you can see clouds across the entire Central Plains. Here's our system: California, parts of Nevada, Arizona, up into Utah. It's not a strong storm system, but it will give us a pretty good cold front as we work through the latter half of the work week. All right, let's go through time. Here's midnight. A lot of clouds sitting into the upper 40s. By morning, we'll drop back lower 40s, even some 30s in our northern counties. As we go through the day, clouds continue to thicken up, some mostly cloudy skies. Here's the noon hour. Again, by the afternoon, I think most of us will get back into low, if not mid 60s for afternoon highs. Now you can see rain popping up. So if you look at your radar tomorrow afternoon, you'll most likely see rain. It's just not going to reach the ground. So we are going to be dry as we go through the evening hours for us on Wednesday. Day planner 43 to start, 56 by noon, 64 during the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, southerly winds at about 5 to 10 throughout the day. We are going to get a few showers in here late tomorrow night and Thursday morning. So here's 1 a.m. The better shot is going to be on the Missouri side. This is not going to be widespread, but a few hit and miss showers as we go into Thursday morning. You can even see a little bit of snow up toward Kansas City. They may get a ½ an inch to an inch of snow. So our northern counties may get a quick little burst of light snow Thursday morning, and then this is quickly gone. But look at our temperatures, much colder by the time we head into Thursday afternoon as we hang out into lower 40s for highs. Now the winds also are really going to increase. South winds tomorrow, not terrible, but watch this. Behind the front, we get northwesterly winds. We're going to have winds gusting 35 upwards to 40 at times as we go through Thursday morning, and then finally the winds will start to diminish just a bit by the time we head into Thursday afternoon. So mostly cloudy tomorrow, still warm, 65. 42 with a few morning rain and snow showers on Thursday. 42 Friday, back near 50 as we head into Saturday, 57 on Sunday. Our next storm system moves in on Monday. Looks like a better chance for widespread rain on that system on Monday.
In a lot of ways, it looks like a spring forecast more than a winter one.
It's fairly mild for this time of year.
It is. Thanks, Doug. Here's some good news concerning Earth's ozone layer. It's on track to recover completely within the next 2 decades as ozone-depleting chemicals have been phased out across the world. That's according to a new United Nations-backed assessment. The ozone layer of the atmosphere protects our planet from harmful ultraviolet rays. According to the assessment, the use of ozone-depleting CFCs has dropped 99% since 1989, thanks to international cooperation. Coming up, tips to tackle rising credit card debt. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Buddy Andrews served in the U.S. Navy from 1960 to 1966. The Columbus, Kansas native was stationed on the USS Holmes County, and we salute construction mechanic Chief Buddy Andrews, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, federal officials say they're acting on thousands of complaints related to Southwest Airlines holiday travel meltdown. The Department of Transportation has sent every complaint directly to Southwest, and the agency is giving the airline 60 days to respond. The airline has to honor passenger refund requests within 7 business days if the traveler paid by card and 20 days if they paid by cash or check. That's for flights that were canceled or significantly delayed. Gas prices will likely dip. That's what a spokesperson for AAA says. The organization says though prices went up during the holidays, they have now flattened. Over the weekend, gas prices fell more than a cent, bringing the national average to $3.28, lower around here. The reason for the decrease? Well, lower demand. According to data from the Energy Information Administration, demand for gas dropped last week after the new year. When stimulus checks were being sent out during the pandemic, the personal savings rate in the U.S. hit a record. But there's been a total reversal since then, and credit card debt is on the rise. Reporter Jared Hill explains.
It shouldn't be, but I have $13,000 of credit card debt currently.
And for Jamie Fellman, that's actually an improvement. This past summer, she was nearly $20,000 in debt and shared it all on social media.
I have a lot of debt. It's partially because I was irresponsible with my money and partially because I was never taught how to manage my money.
I just sort of thought of it as this thing that was eventually going to go away. If I ignored it enough, maybe it would just disappear one day.
A new survey from Bankrate finds 46% of credit card holders carry debt, up from 39% last year.
And that debt is more expensive. Credit card rates are near their highest point ever.
Bankrate's Ted Rossman says the average interest rate is almost 19.6%. When you couple that with an average credit card debt of $5,500,
then you only make minimum payments, you're going to be in debt for about 17 years and you're going to pay about $7,500 just in interest.
But Rossman says one solution is to transfer the debt to a new card with a 0% one-year introductory interest rate.
So essentially the new card pays off the old cards and then you pay the new card back at a much lower rate.
Fellman got a 0% card, increased her payments, and created a budget, sharing it all on TikTok in the hope of helping others.
On this side are my categories. On this side is how much I allocate each month.
What's been the hardest part along the way?
Learning how to have boundaries.
Feldman says she now has financial boundaries, and she's hoping to pay off all of her debt in a year. Jared Hill, CBS News, Brooklyn, New York.
The Department of Education is proposing lower student loan payments for millions of people. It's part of the Biden administration's plan to change the existing income-driven repayment program. The proposed rule could reduce payments to 40 cents per dollar. Some borrowers saving $1,000 a year. It would also pause payments for anyone making less than $30,600 a year. The Biden administration is now seeking feedback from the public. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how a new website with an artificial intelligence is taking the internet by storm. Then on KOAM News at 6, a suspect in an Ottawa County, Oklahoma murder enters a plea agreement. Plus, we're going to have more on how the rising cost of eggs is impacting a local business and look at what's on deck for the Kansas legislature this session. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Well, weather pretty mild at the moment, Doug.
Yeah, most of us sitting upper 50s to lower 60s. We're not going to drop off too much tonight. 65 again tomorrow. A lot of clouds. We'll start to get a little light rain snow mix picking up late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. This does not look like a very big deal, but of course something we'll keep our eyes on. Then we cool down, warm back up next week. Rain chances return just about each and every day.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.